Hi, Savvies. Mr. McConaughey here. I wanted to put together a video here that I had promised you on Friday about factoring. So we're going to do a couple factoring problems, and I'm going to show you a couple different techniques that you can use to figure out what the greatest common factor is and how to solve these problems. The first way is to just dive in and start with pulling any kind of factor that you can see out of the problem. Remember, I told you, don't just spend a lot of time staring at the problem and hoping that some flash of brilliance is going to come in. Okay? It may, but it may not. So let's start with this problem. And you may not notice immediately what the greatest common factor is, but you can certainly look at it and say, wow, I've got two even numbers. I know 2 is a factor. So let's just go ahead and start with 2. And 2 goes into 54 27 times. So I've got 27x, and then I'm going to subtract 2 into 36 is 18. Now I can look at 27 and 18 and say, oh, well, I know that 9 goes into both of these. So I would write 2 times 9 outside the parens. 9 goes into 27 3 times, minus 9 goes into 18 2 times, and I'm done. I would have to write, rather than 2 times 9, I want you to write this as 18, of course. And that's my problem. So 18 is the greatest common factor. How else can we figure this out? We can use a factor tree to do factor trees for both 54 and 36. And then there's another way, and I know some of you had done this way, and this is the way that I had done it when I was a student. I would write 36 and 54. And I think you call this a ladder. What's a factor? Let's choose 2. So I would write this 2 goes into 36 18 times. 2 goes into 54 27 times. And we're going to do this all the way out. We're going to do now a common factor of 3, which goes into 18 and 27. 3 goes into 18 6 times. 3 goes into 27 9 times. Now I'm not done with my factoring because 6 and 9 have a common factor, right? It's 3. I know that Connor would be catching that if we were in class right now. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And I look at the 2 and the 3 and I'm done. I have no more common factors. However, now I need to look at 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And voila, I have 18, which I got from doing the problem in this manner. And now I have 18 as my greatest common factor. So I can immediately just write 18 left paren, and with my 54, I had 3 left. 18 goes into 54 3 times, which I have my 3x here, and 18 goes into 36 2 times, minus 2. Okay? And then we would write Q, E, D. Remember what that means? Quite elegantly done. So let's go ahead and do another problem here for you. Okay, now on the last problem, when we were working through that, if you weren't catching all of the steps that I did, maybe I was going a little fast or something happened and you weren't quite sure what was going on, make sure that you go back. You can pause the video, go back, watch it a couple of times, do whatever you need to do, but really understand this process. This is something that we're not doing just in this chapter, and I know I sound like a broken record, but you're going to be doing factoring for several years here in math. So get used to it, and I want you to get good at it, okay? And of course, you can always come with questions about it. So now let's look at this problem. 26x minus 78. Now you're going to look at this and probably not get the greatest common factor right off the top of your head. Okay? So let's go ahead and work through and figure out how we can find the greatest common factor. And I'm going to do my ladder method here. Write down 26 and 78. Now this is kind of tough as to what you may see as a factor here. But let's try some different numbers. Okay, let's look at, well, probably the first one. I have two even numbers. So let's just choose 2. Okay, so I'm going to write 2. And 2 goes into 26 how many times? 13. And 2 goes into 78 how many times? Well, let's look at this. Here's how I do this quickly in my head. I've got 2 into 7. How many times does 2 go into 7? 3 times. And what's left? 1. And so I'll kind of put a 1 there and call that 18. And now 2 goes into 18 how many times? 9. Okay? So let's go ahead and finish this off. So 2 goes into 78 39 times. And I know some of you probably saw that, but I wanted to work it out for everyone. So I have 13 and 39. And at first you may say, oh gosh, there's no common factor. 13, that's a weird number, and all this kind of stuff. But 13 actually goes into 39 3 times. Let's go ahead and just show you that. 3 times 13 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1, 39. So if I write 2 times 13, 13 goes into 13, 1. 13 goes into 39, 3. That's a little tougher one to see, and that's why I wanted to work this out with this kind of factor. So what's our greatest common factor? We're kind of looking at this and you say, well, 13? Well, 13 is the factor, but it's not the greatest. Remember what we have here. We have 2 times 13. That's our greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor is 26. So I can pull 26 out. 26 goes into 26 one time. Do we want to write 1x? Well, I'll let you do that and we'll get by with that in 7th grade. But remember, we don't do that in 8th grade with Miss Granis and Mrs. Wittick. So let's go ahead and just erase this. We don't really need that 1 in front. We can just call it x. Minus, and 26 goes into 78. And again, you're looking at this and say, gosh, I don't know how many times 26 goes into 78. Well, by doing our tree here, look, it told us 3. 3 is left. So I've got minus 3. And this is our answer. Okay? So I hope this factoring was helpful for you. It's only a few minutes long. If you need some additional help, you want to do some more, remember we're going to be doing those on the study guide tomorrow and Tuesday. And see me before class or after class as we always do. Okay? So I hope the rest of your weekend's good. Take care.